Every haunted place has a story with a dark past. This is Ghost Encounters Podcast. Welcome back, all you spooky people, to the Ghost Encounters Podcast. I am paranormal investigator Justin Torok.
And I'm Jordan, the group scientist.
I'm Hannah, your death-obsessed bestie.
This episode is dedicated to wonton soup.
Woo!
All right, wonton soup.
I love you.
They gave us a spooky fan story last podcast, and they requested us to do urban legends, and more specifically, things upon like Bloody Mary. And so we have a really creepy urban legend podcast for you today.
Yeah, we got kind of the tasting plate going on.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if this is what you guys used or not, but I just Googled urban legends.
I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, you want to get a list.
Yeah, that's always where I start. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll Google it. But Wikipedia had like a really good comprehensive list.
It was a big list.
It was a huge list.
They didn't have a lot of information on each of them,
mm-hmm.
and I hate to try to use Wikipedia for stuff, but they had a good list.
Yeah, it's
of
a good
bunch
place
of
to
ones
start.
that we can do research on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely probably going to have like part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of
everything.
Urban legends.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I just pulled from memory.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, Wikipedia had them on their list. Whatever works.
Still counts. Before we go into this, I wanted to insert a sidebar here about my current obsession, the Mothman's ass statue in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. On the day that I wrote for this podcast, which was like a little bit ago, somebody stuck a tramp stamp tattoo upon Mothman's ass.
I saw that. As soon as that happened, you sent me the post. And there it is. A beautiful tribal tramp stamp right above his shiny fucking ass.
Yes. Didn't I send it to group chat? I think
Yes.
I did.
Yeah, you did,
Yes.
you
Okay. I was like, you need to see it. The podcast needs to see it. It's important. But yeah, dude, that was so fucking funny.
That
And
was
like,
funny.
I don't advocate for vandalizing somebody's art.
No, but that was tasteful and funny.
Yeah, it was very. Do it if it's funny. But
Like, I'm
yeah.
not saying deface it where it's like it's ruined afterwards. Like, obviously you can scrape a sticker off or whatever it was.
You know,
but-
like don't fuck it up so bad that people can't have fun anymore.
Someone else definitely noticed the amazingness of his ass and decided to
I
just
wonder-
bring the location. Like, we're gonna look right at this tattoo.
I
Everybody-
wonder if it was a podcast fan.
Ooh.
We do not condone vandalism of any kind, but that shit was funny.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
If you're the one that did it and you're listening, please write to us. We won't use your name,
Nope.
but we just want to say, well done.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I can't take credit for that one, but I wish I could.
I mean, if you're gonna make a statue with such a round-formed, shiny ass, you gotta expect someone to do something.
Oh my god, people are
Right?
absolutely gonna take the piss out of that.
Yeah.
Like,
When I was in California, I was visiting a friend in Burbank. Sophie, hi Sophie, I know you're listening. They, for some reason, have a Batman statue. A beautiful, big-ass bronze Batman statue. For no reason. And the place where you can tell it's a little bit scuffed because people touch a lot
Oh my
is his
God.
crotch. Unfortunately, his ass is covered by his cape, but his crotch is just right there bulging out. And that's where the hands go.
you gotta fondle the bat bulge. That's
Oh
it.
my
Funnel
God.
the bat to the bat bulge.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Yeah, I was just about to say, you guys gotta stop.
But-
You gotta stop sometime.
Getting a little
Balls
too
and ass.
excited for the podcast, you
Oh,
guys.
God.
Oh my god.
Medicine.
But Mothman is in itself, it is a piece of urban legend,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
This episode is more urban legend on like cautionary tales or rituals where you should do something or shouldn't do something. And Wonton Soup requested Bloody Mary. And so I took a deep dive into Bloody Mary.
Fuck yeah.
Beneath the veil of darkness, where whispers and shadows intertwine, the legend of Bloody Mary beckons the bold and curious into a chilling embrace. This tale, a macabre ritual, is known to send shivers down the spine of even the bravest souls. It involves standing before a mirror in a dimly lit room. Usually people do this in like a bathroom. Candle flickering, as one dares to summon her cursed visage by uttering her name thrice. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. The foolish hope for a mere scare, but the legend forewarns of a far grimmer fate. Eyes scratched out, or bodies torn by claw marks, or an eternal imprisonment within the mirror's reflective prison.
Oh, man.
Now, I did find a legend where you have to say, "I killed your baby, Bloody Mary," 3 times. And then you'll see Bloody Mary holding a dead child.
Oh,
That's pretty dark.
But this is actually going to play into one of the stories of who they think Bloody Mary actually is.
Okay.
So I'm sure everyone growing up knows the tale of Bloody Mary, right? Your friends at a sleepover dare you to go in the bathroom, they shut off the lights, and you have to say her name 3 times in their mirror. And some people freak out and think they see something. But
never once did that.
Oh my god, I tried it.
Did you?
Yeah, I tried
Was
it.
it at a sleepover or was it by yourself?
No. I was in school bathroom, elementary school
Okay.
bathroom. It was me and like 3 other
Elementary
girls.
school? What the
Damn, girl.
Yo, dude, I get into it later. I wrote some stuff about it, but nothing happened.
Oh,
Nothing. I'm still here.
Well,
Nothing
yeah.
happened, but my faith died a little that day.
You were really hoping to see something.
Dude, I really was.
Yeah.
I mean, per usual.
see
you know.
me, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to see nothing. I'm alright.
And I'm just, dude, I'm fucking poking that hornet's nest.
Yes,
you
you
Poking
are.
Fuck me,
Once we hit
man.
like middle school and sleepovers started and like everybody was doing it at parties and or whatever, like little girls slumber parties, they would all go
Yeah.
in there and do the little Bloody Mary thing and start screaming, and I'm sitting there eating a bag of chips because I'm like, fuck y'all, like, you guys want to get fucked up by her, she can come out and kill
Yeah.
your asses. I'll sit here with my chips.
There is a phenomenon where if you stare into a mirror in a dark room long enough, you will start to kind of see visions or hallucinations or just things
Well,
in
mirrors
the mirror.
are fucking creepy.
They are. But it's unknown on how this kind of started or who the hell is Bloody Mary and why Bloody Mary. So there's a few hypothesized people that this could actually be. The origins of this spectral figure are as murky as the stories themselves, with countless variations weaving through the fabric of folklore. Yet among these, a haunting narrative of sorrow and dread emerges from the 1800s, detailing the tragic end of a young girl named Mary. Her small village, cloaked in the shadow of an unknown illness, became a grim setting where death's grasp was swift and the lines between life and death blurred. The dead were hastily pronounced so sometimes erroneously, with a simple mirror test for breath that could betray the living. So they think they're dead, they put the little tiny mirror underneath the nose to see if there's any kind of airflow, and if there's nothing going on the mirror, they're just, oh, they're dead.
That's the only way we're checking. Throw them in the hole.
I mean, back then, pretty
Science.
into the plague. Into the plague pit with you.
But to guard against premature burials, the dead were laid to rest with a string in their hand, tied to a bell above the ground. We've talked about this before, right? Saved by the Bell, right? Bell above ground, string in hand, just in case they wake up on the ground, they can ding the bell. Hey, I'm fucking alive.
Help me.
Mary's tale takes a darker turn as she falls ill, succumbing slowly to the relentless grip of the disease. Even in death, her parents clung to hope, leaving her in her coffin with the bell as a guardian against fate. But fate, as it often does, twisted cruelly. On a day where her parents were away, a well-meaning neighbor, fearing the worst, sealed Mary's fate by burying her prematurely. In the cold embrace of the earth, Mary awoke, alone and suffocating. She clawed at the lid of her coffin until her fingers bled, her desperate rings for salvation unheard. Her life drifted away in darkness, leaving behind a tale of horror and a spirit forever bound to the mirrors through which she might have shown signs of life.
Okay, that brings the
It's
mirror
like my
in there.
biggest fucking fear ever,
Yeah.
being buried alive.
Oh my god, could you
It's
imagine?
like one of my biggest fucking
Absolutely terrifying.
fears. I'd rather be burned alive.
But yeah, so her parents leave. I don't know where the hell they left, on a little trip. I don't know, but she wasn't to be buried yet. But alas, she was buried. I mean, obviously back then you're afraid if someone has a disease, you want to get them the fuck out as quickly as possible.
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Well, when her parents came back, they noticed that the bell above her grave was like a couple feet away.
Oof.
So she was yanking on this fucking thing.
Oof.
And so they dug her up quick, and they found her shocked-faced corpse, just there, mouth open, fingers bleeding, and scratch marks on the coffin lid.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's said that her soul is trapped in that mirror that should have shown signs of life, and that is Bloody Mary. That was one story.
So, like in her household mirror? Like in something that she looked at some point in her life?
Nope, it's just a little tiny mirror where they put on their nose.
Oh.
But apparently in this kind of folklore, all mirrors are kind of connected. in their
Just
own way.
saying, the episode of Supernatural with Bloody Mary, where she travels into all the different mirrors, like,
Yeah,
even
see?
if you break them, that scares the fuck out of me. Because you want to believe that if you break that mirror, she's not going to come back. No, that bitch hops to other mirrors and stuff. That's just, like, one of the scariest Supernatural episodes I've ever seen in my life.
It's like Ouija board logic. Like, you're not supposed to burn a Ouija board, you know?
Right.
It's portals. What are you gonna do?
Fucking Meredith, they freaked me the
Incorporeal
fuck
shit.
out.
Yeah.
Meredith was just, we had a campfire over the summer, and Meredith came out and she was like, do you guys ever just like stare in the mirror really long and you're like you start seeing freaky shit? She's like, because I just freaked myself out, and I was like, she's like, I'm not looking in the mirror at your house anymore.
Girl, no.
You're not supposed to do that.
I was
don't do
literally
that.
like,
What's
why
the
did you
matter?
just stare at yourself? Like, because, well, in reality, the mirror in my mom's downstairs bathroom is the whole half of the wall.
Yeah, it's true, it's true.
So it's massive.
Can't
It's-
just not do it while
Yeah.
you're taking
Yeah, yeah, or whatever. So, but it was so funny because she came out. She was like, that just freaked me the fuck out.
shit. No.
Really funny.
But the story of Bloody Mary is not confined to this single tragic tale. Historical figures, each bearing the name Mary, and a legacy bathed in blood and tragedy, have been postulated as the origin of this spectral legend. Mary Tudor, also known as Bloody Mary, reigned over England from 1553 to 1558, very short term. This was marked by her zealous efforts to restore Catholicism, leading to the prosecution and execution of hundreds of Protestants. There's Protestants, Hannah.
Sorry,
Protestant.
Protestant. Well, okay, never mind.
It was from the last episode. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it.
It
It's
was a
pretty,
joke.
pretty
We
funny.
love you, Protestants.
She made up her own storyline for somebody. It was freaking hysterical.
Her reign is remembered for its religious turmoil and the lasting legacy of fear and division it sowed within the kingdom. She also had a haunting phantom pregnancy.
That's fucked
She was abandoned as a child. She wanted love. This story is actually kind of pretty sad. She basically had a false pregnancy. As we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but as Jordan said, like, she had some weird health issues, but her stomach actually swelled.
Yeah, she had a
So,
swelling.
Ugh.
So she thought she was pregnant and she was so happy.
Oh.
But a lot of people didn't think she was and were kind of mocking her, which made her pissed even more.
Yeah.
And when it came time for her to give birth, because that's when it was she was expected, no baby ever came. And then all of a sudden, her swelling goes down, and she became very sad. She locked herself away in her room. Like, they would just find her just in her bed, fetal position, like not wanting anything, not wanting, like, she was that distraught and sad. I mean, that's got to be sad. You think you're pregnant, all of a sudden, like, you're
it's-
not, and your body reacted as if it was.
Oh, Jesus.
This is probably the most well-documented case of pseudocyesis, or false pregnancy. It's a complex and mysterious condition, but the short version is that the person becomes so convinced in their desire for a child that the mind tricks the body into thinking it's pregnant and acting accordingly. Hormones shift, menstruation stops, and the belly can even swell.
That's
Human body
gross.
is so
It's
crazy.
crazy.
That happens to dogs a lot, right? Doesn't it? Like,
I've heard that in dogs.
They have
yeah,
false-
Yeah.
dogs
They,
really want to.
they like will go like and go to, like, a little spot, and they like are acting like they're gonna give birth, but
Yeah.
they were never pregnant. I know that happens a lot with dogs, and then they get really sad.
But now,
Yeah.
of course, thanks to ultrasounds, we can see that very early on. But the condition still exists, occurring between 1 and 6 out of every 22,000 births.
That's wild.
And this is where the dead baby Bloody Mary comes into play. This is why they think if you say, I killed your baby Bloody Mary, you're going to see Bloody Mary holding a dead child.
I wouldn't want to fuck with Mary Tudor.
No.
I would not even want to go in front of a mirror and try that.
Yeah, like, honestly,
I don't
Yeah,
need
no.
to
kinda
gas her
bad.
up
No.
for her to come and get
She
me.
was very angry her entire life.
Well, yeah, it's the same. But
She will kill you with no remorse.
it's the Catholicism.
The
Yeah.
Protestant killer. She killed so many people.
A lot.
So many people
I mean,
for treason
so
and shit like that.
Why she's known as Bloody Mary.
For only
Yes.
being on the throne for a couple
5
years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Guess old habits die hard,
She's
especially
like,
when
killed
you know
one
who,
person per
who
hour.
your dad is.
Yeah, man.
Like, her dad was out there cutting people's heads off, and now she's freaking known as the Protestant killer. Like,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, this is fine.
Tudor,
this is fine
Tudor
to do.
lines, wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Now, there's another person that they think could be Bloody Mary. We've had an entire episode on this person. It's a very good podcast episode. Elizabeth Bathory, dubbed as the Blood Countess, was a Hungarian noblewoman accused of torturing and killing hundreds of young women in the late 16th and 17th centuries, allegedly bathing in their blood to retain her youthfulness and prettiness.
Oh, yeah.
She would kill virgins.
Mm-hmm.
Bathe in their blood. There are stories where she may have drank blood. We did a whole podcast episode on this. Very good episode if you want to learn more about.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. Her notorious legacy is steeped in tales of sadism and vampirism, making her one of history's most famous female serial killers.
I read a book on her a couple of years ago, and it was it was a novel. It was a semi-historical novel, and I think I don't know, they tried to spin it as a feminist thing, and I was like, please don't. She's literally killing other women.
Yeah.
Was she the one that also would pretend to let people go and then
Yes.
sick animals on them?
Yeah.
Or
So
people
she
to
had
hunt them?
she had traps laid out. She had animals to sick on them. She would pretend to let them go.
Yeah, it's a sick
yeah.
game to her.
Yeah.
Like,
Back
she
to your
literally
family.
was
She enjoyed this.
Yeah. Because I remember, even in the book, she started torturing servants with her husband, and then she kind of got a taste for it, and then I guess the nobility kind of the rest of the nobility kind of used it as the thing to take her down and take her land and take her money.
Yeah, that's what they kind of said.
Yeah.
They made this all up just to take her land and money. But
It's
come on,
I mean,
when that many people are going missing,
it's maybe you made up
and you have servants and everyone else saying that yes, you are doing this. It's kind of come on.
Maybe she didn't bathe in their blood, maybe she didn't drink their blood, but she definitely sicked animals on people and beat the shit out of her servants.
Yeah.
So we don't need to put her on the girl boss pedestal.
Yeah, no.
Thank you very much.
There is one other person that could be Bloody Mary. Mary Worth, from the Salem witch trials, could be considered a candidate due to her alleged witchcraft and the brutal methods of torture and execution used against accused witches at the time, which could have inspired tales of a vengeful spirit. The historical fear and hysteria surrounding witchcraft, combined with Worth's supposed dealings in the dark arts, provide a fertile ground for the birth of a haunting myth that seeks retribution from beyond the grave. All of these women are named as potential faces behind the mirror. Each story, steeped in bloodshed and suffering, adds depth to the legend, painting a picture of a tormented soul seeking vengeance, or perhaps release from her eternal torment. As night falls, and the daring gather before mirrors, the legend of Bloody Mary continues to thrive, a testament to humanity's fascination with the supernatural and the thin veil that separates the living from the dead. With each invocation, the legend grows, a chilling reminder of the power of names and the mysteries that lurk just beyond the reach of a candlelit room. Whether born from tragic tale of a young girl named Mary, or the historical horrors associated with her name, Bloody Mary remains a spectral figure of haunted excitement, forever etched into the collective nightmare of those willing to peer into the darkness and call her forth.
Spoopy.
That was good. That was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very cool to kind of take a deep dive into Bloody Mary.
I didn't realize how many people were linked to her.
Either did I.
I knew about Mary Tudor, but I didn't know about anybody else.
Same, and I kind of had a hint that probably Elizabeth Bathory was going to come into play. Jordan, what story did you look up?
So I am super fascinated with Japanese folklore and stuff like that. I just feel like the Asians have their shit together. So well with horror. Train to Busan was the best fucking movie I've ever seen
Was
in my
it
life.
the Japanese that did the elevator game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
The Japanese, they just have the coolest things.
They do.
The urban
in Japanese,
legends.
freaking China and Korea, they just have these really cool, different, and they're super spiritual. And they don't
Very spiritual.
They don't shy away from spirits and stuff like that the way we do here.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to learn about any of their folklore. So I decided to do Teke Teke. If have you guys ever heard of?
Yeah, it's creepy.
You have. Cool. All right. Per usual, there are many different versions of the legend, but I'm just going to go with the most popular version. The story begins with a school student by the name of Kashima Reiko, who died when she fell into the train tracks while a train was coming. Her legs were severed clean from her torso.
Fuck.
Damn.
In some stories, they say that she fell by accident. In other stories, they say that her friends were like playing a prank on her, and she fell down into like off the platform and onto the tracks just as the train was coming, so she couldn't really get up and do anything. Well, I feel like if you fell, you probably would hurt yourself. So you probably couldn't get up and just run.
Like, oh no, I broke my leg falling onto the train tracks.
Yeah.
And the train is coming.
I hear a train coming.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
So basically, she became a vengeful spirit. Due to missing her lower half, she is said to walk on her hands or her elbows and like drag herself, making a scratching or teke-teke sound as she moves. If an individual encounters her at night, she will chase them and cut their body in half. Some sources say she even carries like a scythe with her, and like it basically mimics her own death and disfigurement.
Yeah.
I read that Kashima Reiko's story predates that of the Teke-Teke story. The legless spirit of Kashima Reiko is said to haunt bathroom stalls, asking occupants if they knew where her legs were.
Oh my god.
I'm taking a shit, and you're sitting there, and somebody comes crawling. Do you know where my legs are?
Just underneath the stall, do you know where my legs are?
That's fucking scary, though, to be honest. Especially if she looks scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, the way that they portray her to look, I definitely would not want to have to rush for toilet paper at any point.
If you're having trouble to shit, you don't then.
Yeah, you're
not at
shitting your
all.
pants at that point.
If anybody comes under the stall door at me in the bathrooms, they are getting curb stomped. Just reflexive curb stomping.
But let's be honest, best freaking bathroom scene in any horror movie was when Michael Myers comes in and drops those teeth.
Oh, that was freaky.
That was the most badass part in Halloween, the remake.
Yeah.
Lit.
I haven't seen it.
You should. That was the only good one of the trilogy, to be
should.
honest. The first one.
Shit, okay.
If you're questioned by her, you have to reply with specific answers. So if she doesn't find it acceptable, she'll rip or slice you in half.
Damn.
Yeah, so you gotta be careful. Individuals may survive the encounter by replying that her legs are on the Meishin Expressway, I hope I pronounced that right, or by responding with the phrase, quote unquote, Kamen Shinin Ma, I hope I pronounced that right as well, which is translated to masked death demon. So basically if you like respond to her that way, I guess she'll just deuces. Thanks for your time.
I mean, at least they have a way to get rid of her.
Yeah.
I have been known. It's another little ritual aspect. Like you chant the name, and then you have the thing that you're supposed to say, and you check your little boxes. And then
make
you're
sure
safe.
that. And then it gets a little bit more detailed as we go down here. The legend of Kashima Reiko has been described as a bathroom-centric variation of Teke-Teke. I also heard that according to the legend, after you hear the story, unfortunately, or hearing the sounds of Teke-Teke, she will visit you in 3 days. But I also heard that she'll visit you in a month.
Are we cursing our podcast listeners again?
I guess we are.
It's always me. I'm sorry, but this is a cool story. We're creeping you out today.
It's my fault the one day.
Yeah, because you had the scary doll. It was the scary doll.
I was showing the doll to my friends at work, and then we got to the podcast, and it's like, yeah, she'll visit your dreams and curse you. And I'm like, oh my god, Lauren, I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
if we
Lauren.
curse you with Teke-Teke, I am very sorry. But you need to remember what Jordan said to get rid of her.
But now we're getting to the part that you really have to remember, because this is the way you'll escape her. Okay. So, she comes to you in 3 days to a month and asks you a riddle, most likely in your dream. And the only way to escape the same fate as her is if you answer her questions in the right way. She will ask, do you need your legs? You have to say, I need them right now. Then she will ask, who told you my story? And you need to say, Kashima Reiko. This is because Ka stands for mask, She stands for death, Ma stands for demon, and Rei stands for ghost, and Ko stands for accident. It is her choice for you to live. Like, she picks if you live. Man. But it is also her choice if she wants you to stay and become just like her.
Damn.
So, like, even if you say the correct words, she might be like, you know what, I just don't like your face.
Yep. So regardless, it's up to her.
I mean, we stand a woman with agency. So.
But that is the urban legend about Teke-Teke.
Cool.
That's
like
creepy.
That
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the contrast between the two stories. Like, in Bloody Mary, you're actually saying things to try to bring her forth. But in your story, you're actually trying to say things to shoo her away.
Yeah, so you can get away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I liked that there is also, like, there's a background to the teke variation and stuff. So, like, you're learning literally about a girl that apparently passed away.
Yeah.
And everything like that, and how it has adapted and become this thing. Like, if you see her, good.
But I like that it has, like, an actual story of someone's name tied to it, which
so
is
it's
cool.
nice to, gives you, like, an idea of what you need to do. And there's two different ways, as we said, to...
Good luck sleeping every night, everybody.
Yeah.
Yay! Remember
Enjoy your nightmares.
You're cursed now.
Yeah.
Forever.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a short break. We're going to turn out the lights. We're going to look in the mirror and see what happens. Yeah.
The fuck we're not!
We're gonna go try it, and maybe we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by The Colony Meadery. If you haven't tried mead yet, it's alcohol made for money. It's all natural, totally gluten-free, and delicious. Colony Meadery is one of the best meaderies in the world, and it's located in Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley. Stop in and try a flight of meads, grab some bottles or cans to go, and experience some of the best booze in the world. They have flavors ranging from tart and quaffable lemon laws and Wu-Tang Crayon to sweet cinnamon and vanilla series of tubes, and even sweet heat with their mango habanero. Learn more at colonymeadery.com. Ghost Encounters is sponsored by Phoenix Fire Media. Elevate your business with their digital marketing strategies, including their multi-award-winning social media marketing, photography, and video production. Phoenix Fire Media, igniting success through creative excellence. Visit phoenixfiremedia.com. If you're enjoying the Ghost Encounters podcast, hit subscribe and give us 5 stars. To watch full episodes of the Ghost Encounters show, visit ghost-encounters.com. And don't forget, when you're on our website, click on the Spooky Shop for all your Ghost Encounters spooky swag. To stay up to date with Ghost Encounters, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Ghost Encounters PA. To send spooky fan stories, email GhostEncountersStories@gmail.com or message us on social. Do you want ad-free episodes of Ghost Encounters podcast, plus bonus episodes, extra content, and much more? Then you should head to Patreon and be a spooky VIP. Go to patreon.com/Ghost Encounters podcast and be haunted from all the benefits with the spooky VIP membership. And we are back. We did not die. We did not get our eyes scratched out. But
As per usual.
hey, who knows? If you try the Bloody Mary thing, let us know what happens if you see anything.
Yeah, we need more spooky fan stories.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that'd be a great one. If you
Wouldn't
do
that
the
be
Bloody
good?
Mary thing and you see some shit or you get some weird scratches on your body, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not for you, but
well,
for a story.
Call Mary Worth and tell her Ghost Encounters sent you. But
I'm here for research purposes.
This is important. It's science. But anyway, I did not choose any of those other unhinged topics. I missed the cautionary tale memo, and instead I chose this other unhinged topic. I ended up researching the floating coffin of Charles Coughlin.
Which rhymes, and I like that.
A little bit. It's got a nice ring to it.
But I'm sure this is not a nice nursery rhyme.
No. But that said, like, it could be much worse. Like,
Okay.
Nobody's baby died and nobody's been chopped in half by a train.
Well, there you go.
Well.
Small victories.
Yeah. It's 2024 and we're taking what we can get. This story comes from Galveston, Texas, where it is apparently a relatively common legend.
Oh, wow.
I have never been to Galveston or Texas in general, so
Neither
I
have I.
cannot confirm or deny. But this is the story of Charles Francis Coughlin, who comes from Ireland. He was born on June 11th, 1842. Despite being prepared for a career as a lawyer while in his teens, Charles decided he would rather become an actor. As somebody who has made a relatively similar decision between a real job and a career in the arts, I can confirm that this is not the best move. For Charles Coughlin, though, this ended up being a pretty solid life choice. Folks in Dublin liked him as an actor, and he got a lot of good roles. good for you, Charles. However, this section of Wikipedia that talked about his acting career and the roles he took on was super boring, and I just skimmed it. He did some Lord Byron, he did some Shakespeare, and then he came to the United States and did some more Shakespeare on Broadway. So his life, his career are all going great. You go, King, chase those dreams.
I feel like back then it was easier to get into something like that, or even in the
Yeah.
arts, because there's like, you know, a lot less people on Earth.
That's true.
And that stuff was like people were very into the arts, and especially like acting and stuff. So
Well, they didn't have anything else to do.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they
there
literally
wasn't
had to
TV
gather
or,
to watch people play.
yeah, that
everything,
too. I didn't even think of that. That too.
Yeah. It was
But-
all such like a little cultural microcosm in each city that I think you could diversify a little
Yeah.
bit more. You know, there was bigger pool for talent. At this point in the article, I started seeing photos of him. He kind of looks to me like David Duchovny. You guys, David Duchovny played Mulder on the X-Files.
Yes.
I like how David Duchovny looks.
I love how you always, if there's a story of someone, you always describe how they look, and I love that.
Yeah, the podcast is an auditory medium, and I am a visual person.
I found it funny in the one episode where you were just infatuated with the killer. You thought,
Oh my god,
so
he was
handsome.
hot. He was so hot. He had a great head of hair.
Oh, that was the
It was. I can't
Spirits of
remember.
Vengeance.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name. He was a fucking bastard, though.
Yeah, they all were.
Yeah, I remember her name, but I don't remember what the fuck his name. He can rot and piss.
Anna is attracted to the bad guy.
Not all the time. Have you met my fiance? He's the sweetest man alive.
Okay, in the stories, Hannah is attracted to the bad guy.
I like to joke about it, but I am an indoor cat of a person, and when somebody opens the door and I am free to go, I'm just like, oh my god, what happened? Anywho, there's Charles Coughlin has a nice little 25-year career on stage, after which he moves to writing his own plays. And his plays also did well. He wrote about a dozen of them, and his final play was called Fortune's Bridge, which his sister renamed and produced and acted in after Charles' untimely death.
Wow.
So now we know that Charles is going to die. That's the shit I'm here to talk about.
I mean, everyone does.
Yeah, it's 10 out of 10 people.
Inevitable.
I wanted to... Oh my god.
10 out of 10 people.
It's true. We will all die. You heard it here first. And so did Charles Coughlin. I wanted to give a little bit of background on his life before we get into like this weird legacy that he had no control over, surrounding his death, his remains, and his final resting place.
Oh boy.
The story goes that Charles, as a young actor, once visited a fortune teller. She looked into his future and told Charles that he would die suddenly at the height of his fame and in a state in the southern United States. She also told him that he would have no rest for his spirit until he returned home. I should state now that the home apparently referred to is not Dublin, but
I'm so
Oh my
sorry. I
God.
just read her side note.
I was trying to skip over my sidebar and
No.
I really
I'm
just like
sorry.
fucked myself on it.
Oh my god.
Your face is bright red. I'm dead.
Her side
laughing.
note.
Okay.
So his resting place is not Dublin, but Hannah, what did you write?
Okay, I wrote, look, bury me in Dublin. Whose dick do I have to suck to be buried in Dublin? I don't intend to read this on the podcast. I'm just saying. So if I do say this, feel free to cut it or bleep me. I honestly think that the bleeps are the height of humor, as my brain is very smooth.
You
This is
definitely
staying in the podcast.
You definitely should.
I'm sorry to our listeners.
I wish we could put that on a shirt, but I don't think we can.
It's too long.
Jeez.
I don't intend to read this on the podcast. We blew up your spot so bad.
No, I deserved it. I deserve all of this. where was I? The home that he apparently would have no rest if he was not returned to was not Dublin, but his farm on Prince Edward Island called Fortune's Bridge, which, if you remember, is the name of his final play.
Right. Okay, yeah.
And also, if you remember, Prince Edward Island is a location that we have spoken about before. Do you remember?
Oh, I knew it sounded familiar. Which episode?
When we talked about the Northwest Passage,
Oh,
that was
okay.
where the Franklin expedition ended
Right.
up.
It was the Expedition Cannibalism, that episode.
It was that
was
one.
a good episode.
That was a good episode.
Eating people, man.
We always get back to the cannibalism.
Yeah.
And it's always my fault. Anyway, the fortune teller's prediction disturbed Charles quite a lot, and he brought it up to family and friends multiple times throughout his life, and that's how much it freaked him out.
That would freak me out too.
Same. But I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for that psychic session. I am terminally nosy. Charles, after this point, Charles has a nice career. He acts in things. He makes some money. He marries a kind of disturbingly young woman who is 19, and there's a line there, bro. There's a line there, bro, and being on the other side of that line would be really worrying. This is only medium worrying. But then he writes some plays, he performs in them, and he's generally like a well-known and well-liked celebrity with like a nice little life. Until October 1899, when staying in the Tremont Hotel in Galveston, Texas, where he is staying to perform one of his own plays entitled The Royal Box, and he is struck down by what a doctor of the time terms acute gastritis. I can only read this as died of dysentery, but that's just me.
Hashtag Oregon Trail.
Yeah, always. Rent-free in my brain.
Yeah.
Just millennial shit. Charles Coughlin was, by all accounts, in a lot of pain for the entirety of his illness that we just joked about, and he was unable to perform his play and instead spent 4 weeks resting in bed.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Damn shame. Especially because the actor who replaced him in his play received very good reviews, which is good for him, but I didn't write his name down. During his convalescence, Charles Coughlin dictated a new play to his wife, who remained by his side for his final weeks and faithfully transcribed the play for him. Upon a relapse of his illness, Charles Coughlin then died.
At the
height of his fame.
Right.
Yeah. He was 57 years old and at the peak of his career, which the fortune teller allegedly predicted. His wife, whose name was Kurna, I think. There's an umlaut in there, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I'm going with Kurna. She's now alone in an unfamiliar state with no family or friends, and by all accounts, she was totally distraught over the loss of her husband.
Yeah.
But she did her best to make his funeral arrangements. From there on, like, there should be a paper trail, but a lot of records got destroyed. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But Charles' body was sent to the Levy Brothers Funeral Home in Galveston. Although his final wish was to be cremated, Galveston did not have a crematory at the time. His wife, yeah. So, like, what are you gonna fucking do?
Well, there's strike one.
Yep, already troubled. His wife then ordered his body to be shipped to the closest crematory, which was in St. Louis, Missouri. I guess all of Texas didn't have a crematory.
It's weird.
Either that or Texas is just so big that, like, it was closer to go to literally another state than
Right,
to the
yeah.
other. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know shit about Texas. By this time, his network of Broadway people discovered he was dead and demanded that his body be shipped to New York City so they could, like, view it, pay homage, whatever you do with a body.
He was that well liked.
Oh yeah, people.
Wow.
He had a big network. People liked him a lot. He was like the Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Well, maybe, I don't know who married somebody troublingly young. A lot of people.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go. He's the Leonardo DiCaprio of 1899.
Leo doesn't marry.
That's true.
Yeah, he just
He
dates.
just dates
Dates.
23-year-olds. and
Barf.
Moves on to another 23-year-old.
Sorry, I'm 32 and dried up. Anyway, Kerner runs.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm sorry. Somebody needs to just shoot me. Kerna then ran out of money and had Charles's body temporarily interred at Lakeview Cemetery in Galveston while she returned home to the arms of her family. That turned out to be a good move for her, but a bad move for Charles' final wishes, because the following summer in 1900, the infamous storm struck Galveston and absolutely decimated fucking everything.
Damn.
Yeah. The Galveston hurricane is the deadliest natural disaster in the history of the United States, which is nuts because of everything that has happened in the intervening 124 years between then and now.
Right. Like, I thought like Hurricane Katrina was like one of the worst.
Yeah.
But this is actually considered the worst.
That's it. This is it.
Wow.
Today we learned on the podcast. 3,600 buildings were destroyed. 6,000 people were killed. Wind speeds reached 130 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
It's insane.
That blow me away.
Yeah,
Surge.
it's fucking
Holy
insane.
shit.
Yeah, the waves of the storm surge peaked at 15.7 feet, and I have no desire to fuck with any of that.
Absolutely not.
Not
This is why
even
I
once.
don't want to live by the water. Like, my dad's moving to Florida, and I'm
Nope.
on the Gulf side and stuff, and I'm just
Nope.
like,
Yeah, Gulf, that's this shit.
Yeah.
That's this shit right here, the Galveston hurricane.
I'm like, bro, you're nuts. They're more inland, but still, I'm like, I don't want to live by water at all. I could do without the beach. I don't need the beach.
Give it another, 25 years and it'll be even less inland.
Yeah, it's gonna be my
Yeah.
dad's backyard.
Yeah. Gators and shit everywhere.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
I'm good in the north.
Yep.
Sorry.
Love it. Of course, one can imagine what would happen at a place called Lakeview Cemetery during a hurricane. Graves, Justin's face, I wish you could see it.
I'm just picturing just coffins rising up,
Yeah. It's,
floating down.
oh my god, this is a second poltergeist
Didn't
reference.
that just happen in like Louisiana? They had a super big flood, and there were
Fucking
like
probably.
there
What-
were,
yeah,
like-
what happens.
caskets just floating away and everything from
Yeah.
these
It's crazy.
Nothing you can do
these
about
cemeteries.
it.
Yeah, you can't.
Except cremate, I suppose, but whatever. Anyway, final wishes are important. Anyway, at Lakeview Cemetery, graves, mausoleums, and caskets were all washed away in the storm. Despite being made of granite, the mausoleum containing Charles's casket was completely washed away, as was the casket itself.
Oh no.
Bummer. While some caskets and remains were found and reinterred in the cemetery, Charles's were not some of those.
Where'd they go?
Away into the
That's
Gulf.
just crazy.
Just away, gone forever. The New York Actors Club offered a large reward for the return of his casket and remains, but they remained unfound. And this is some really wild shit. This is likely because his wife had purchased for him a cast iron coffin.
Who orders a cast iron coffin?
Who even makes a cast iron coffin? That's like
Heavy as shit.
it's like the fucking elephant's foot,
But how
man.
crazy was this fucking storm that a cast iron coffin
It was
washed away?
130 mile an hour wind speeds. Crazy.
But
I don't know.
Still, that's heavy as shit. It doesn't just.
Well, maybe that's why they put him in
How
that,
does it
so
just
that
float,
he
like-
stayed where his resting spot was, so that it wouldn't go against the little thing, but they didn't follow the thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
It failed. To me, a cast iron coffin seems excessive, but it also sank exactly the way you would expect a massive human-sized iron box to fucking sink.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive that it washed away at all, but his casket was assumed to have probably ended up at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, in your dad's
crazy.
future backyard.
In my dad's future backyard. Like, Dad, there's a cast iron coffin out there somewhere. You better go get your freaking snorkel gear ready.
Watch the fuck
Go,
out.
go
Dad.
get Charles.
Go get Charles, Dad.
Claim the reward, it's yours. Except in 1929, some years after Charles Coughlin's death and the subsequent disappearance of his remains, Ripley's Believe It or Not published a story in their running newspaper column that stated, Charles Coughlin comes home. He died in 1899 and he was buried in Galveston. When the tragic flood came, his coffin was washed out to sea and the Gulf Stream carried him around Florida and up the coast to Prince Edward Island, 2,000 miles distant where he had lived.
No shit.
That's the story. That's the story that we're going with. Finally, that's the urban legend.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Is that how the tides roll? Like, do the tides go up that way?
Absolutely, they don't. But Robert Ripley said that they did. He mentioned in October of 1908, fishermen spied a large box floating off the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Snagging it with their nets, they pulled the badly damaged object to shore. A silver plate was revealed after cleaning off a few barnacles, which identified it as the casket of Charles Coughlin.
What the fuck?
The legend tells that the actor was taken to his home church on Prince Edward Island and buried near the church where he was baptized in 1841. His wandering spirit was finally home. This is the story that was then repeated in 1929 in Robert Ripley's first Believe It or Not book.
Wow.
Yeah. Not only was this story patently incorrect, it also pissed off Coughlin's family.
So this didn't actually happen.
No, it's an urban legend.
That would be cool.
Right? I was like kind of here for it. But the family demanded to know where Ripley had gotten his information. He ratted out Charles's friend, Sir Johnston Forbes Robinson, who had apparently been told of the encounter with the fortune teller and been spreading the story around. Because it was interesting.
Yeah.
You know. And it's less of a fucking bummer than dude died an untimely death in a a faraway city, and his wife couldn't afford to have his remains shipped home. Less of a bummer. Ripley, however, stood by all the claims he made, even though they were almost entirely all made up, even stating falsely that Charles Coughlin was born on Prince Edward Island and that he had died on stage playing Hamlet. Which, honestly, that is a much better story.
Yeah, right.
So I can kind of see why they went with it, but I can also see why that pissed off his family. Finally, the real location of Charles Coughlin's casket was discovered in 1907 when it was found submerged in a marsh 9 miles from Galveston.
Wow, so it really was found.
It was.
That's far away, too.
Absolutely.
For
That's
cast iron. Oh,
yeah,
damn.
it's much further than I would have thought a cast iron coffin would go. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but it's significantly less than the 2,000-mile journey that Robert Ripley said happened. Charles Coughlin's actual final resting place remains unknown, as all records of his final burial were destroyed in a fire in 1979, but the weird story remains his enduring legacy.
Every single place that had records throughout the United States had some kind of fire at some point, and records were all destroyed. It's happened here, it's happened everywhere. It's crazy.
Paper burned, who knew?
Well, I mean, it's just, nuts. But I wish that the story was true, that the casket traveled that far.
Me too. I can see why that's an urban legend, because it's just much cooler that a dude died a sad death and then his remains got fucked up. And I would almost be kind of glad if somebody made up a cool story about me after I died. I get his family was pissed, but if somebody said I died in a much cooler way than pooping myself to death in a rented room, which is how I will probably actually die, and then my corpse acted as a paranormal homing pigeon dredged up from the depths by a bunch of buff fishermen, I would take it.
Very good.
And that's the
Irish
floating.
fishermen.
Oh my god, none but. None but.
That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'd never heard of that story before.
Yeah, never.
Me neither.
I was intrigued when I saw the title.
Right? Thanks, Wikipedia.
I am kind of sad because I've always been a fan of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, it turns
and
out.
I love the books, and I've always went to all the museums in different places, and as a kid I always loved it, but this one was all made up.
Yeah,
he didn't have any facts behind
He
it.
was a lion liar.
Damn.
Lion liar.
But it's a cool story, and I like it.
Jordan, you have another very creepy story. So why don't you take it away?
I chose another Japanese urban legend.
Fuck yeah.
About the slit-mouthed woman. If you guys have ever heard.
Yes, creepy pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super
Warning.
creepy. Spooky. So this urban legend dates between the 17th and 19th century about a malevolent spirit of a woman who partially covers her face with a mask or some other item and carries around scissors or a knife or some sharp object.
Yeah.
Regardless, something to shank somebody with. She is most often described as having long, straight black hair, pale white skin, and considered beautiful, except for the scars on her face. She has been described as a contemporary yokai. Everybody knows what yokais are.
Yes, indeed.
The story experienced like a rise in awareness, like they had all of these news and like everything was coming out saying like, oh my gosh, do you know the story about the slit-mouthed woman and blah 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 blah, so bad that children and like people were walking in groups home, like it scared the shit out of them, and this just happened in 1970. So people were shitting their pants about this urban legend. So according to the legend, Kuchisake Onna was a woman who was mutilated in her life, with her mouth being slit from ear to ear. In some variations of the story, she was interpreted to be like a beautiful wife that had an affair, some shit like that, like an adulterous wife, or a mistress of a samurai. Cool.
Yeah,
I want to be the wife of the samurai.
I want to be the samurai.
I want to be the mistress of a samurai. Not your samurai.
Want to be the hoe?
Like,
not your samurai?
I'll find another one.
Did you hear me? I was immediately going like, what? You want to be the hoe on the low?
You don't shit where you eat, man.
So apparently she was really
Hit me
lonely.
with your katana.
Oh my god. Can you guys stop?
Never.
Apparently, she grew lonely because the samurai was always away from home fighting, blah, 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 blah. Typical story. She became, scandalous, having affairs with men in the town. When the samurai heard of this, he was outraged, and as punishment for her infidelity, her husband sliced the corners of her mouth from ear to ear, so no one would find her beautiful anymore.
Sucks.
Due to her disfigurement to her face, all of the people that she was like sleeping with or had affairs with didn't really care for her anymore. They were like, "You're beautiful. He messed you up. Now I really don't care. Bye." Which is sad.
Yeah, sorry, girl. They were shallow.
Yeah, and other people in the town didn't want to help her, even though she was all messed up and bleeding and gore, blah 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 blah. They were just like, you know what? I don't want to piss off the samurai. I don't want the samurai to come and kill my family. Yeah. Apparently, due from not getting the attention that she was used to, she wound up, in the story, it says that she wound up taking her own life due to being so neglected and nobody really caring to help her, blah, blah, blah. After her death, the woman returned as a vengeful spirit. She covers her mouth with a cloth mask, some say surgical mask, or a hand fan or a handkerchief, and carries around a sharp instrument, like I said. She is also described as having supernatural speed, which is never a good sign.
No. It's like slow zombies versus fast zombies.
Yeah, and she is said to ask potential victims if they think she is attractive, often phrased, obviously in Japanese, am I pretty or am I beautiful? If the person answers no, then she will kill them with whatever weapon she has. And if the person answers yes, she will reveal her mutilated face and then repeats her question or asks something like, even with this, even now, because they see her scars on her face. And if the person responds no or screams in fright at the sight, she will kill the person with her weapon again. Whatever. So regardless, you have to go through these answers, and if you don't react the right way, you're dead.
We got another.
I mean, most people are going to react kind of shocked.
Yeah,
slit,
but if you show
woman,
that you're scared, she kills you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get stabbed with scissors.
No, that sucks.
That's brutal. So after you see her face, if you respond yes, that you think that she's still beautiful, she will still slice the corners of the person's mouth ear to ear, resembling her own disfigurement.
So no matter what, you're fucked.
Yeah, basically.
There's nothing you can do.
If you go on Wikipedia, this is hysterical. They have a Venn diagram of how you still are fucked. It is so funny that they even created that. It is hysterical.
But there are images circling around the web, and they're very creepy.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah.
But I did find on my one research site that an individual can survive an encounter with her by using one of several of these methods that we're going to get to. In some variations, it says that she will visit the individual's residence later that night, if they got away or whatever, and murder the person while they're sleeping, even if they said yes to both of her questions, which sucks. But another tactic is to say that you're running late, after she shows you or she stops you, bitch, get out of my way, something like that. And she will simply bow and apologize, allowing you to pass. Wow. So you gotta be a tough bitch. You can't be scared. Could you imagine, somebody with, these gory, scary, horror-looking person, and they just come up to you and you're just like, sorry, I'm a little late right now, ma'am, I gotta go. Who's gonna do that?
That's crazy, because, she fucks you either way,
shit.
and all you have to do is say that, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a asking the vampire to count the pieces of rice or toothpicks or whatever.
Yeah.
You just throw him a curveball.
Yeah. We're having a boo hag count the bristles of a broom.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is one we have not brought up yet.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
I love
That's a good one.
I love it.
Another survival tactic includes replying to her questions like, you basically describe her appearance as average or normal. Like when she says,
Okay.
am I beautiful? You would be like, you're okay. And she's like, if she shows her face, even now, you just be like, yep, you're good. You're normal.
You just
Like,
gotta
apparently, because you didn't, you
didn't react one way or the other.
Yeah, you didn't compliment nor insult, so she won't
Middle
want to kill
ground.
or carve you.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, okay, well, I don't really know which way to go down my Venn diagram and killing you. You know? Yeah, so basically she'll get confused if you, like, respond that she's average looking or normal, and it gives you enough time to walk away. Also, you can distract her by giving her, or throwing money or hard candies. I thought that was really funny. Like, could you imagine you have your wallet and you just, like, chuck hundreds at her. You're like, I'm good, bye. And hard candies, particularly the ones that are caramelized sugar, they had a specific candy. You know those candies that you would, like, get at, like, parades? Like, they're, like, the really crappy, like, they're individually wrapped, and they're just, like, they kind of look bumpy. Yeah, those kind of candies.
It's like not Werther's Originals. But
no,
like,
not good shit. This is the crappy
close.
shit.
Werther's Originals aren't even good shit.
People in Japan probably just have this shit in their pockets, and they're like, if I ever see Chisake Onna, I'm fucking chucking these fucking shitty-ass candies at her.
It's like, keeping bread and salt in your pockets to keep the fairies away.
Yeah.
But apparently she likes them because if you throw them in her direction, she'll stop to pick them up, and that gives you time to walk away. These are the only options that I could find for you to try and escape from her without being disfigured or dying.
Wow.
But you're fucked.
When in doubt, everybody, before you leave your house, pack your candies because you could get away from Kuchisake Onna.
Candies, money.
I mean,
But yeah, it's like they have the same correlation where there's literally like you have to follow directions a certain way to survive, which I think is really fascinating for folklore.
Yeah, I always found that like really cool.
Yeah, it's very like.
At some point in time, someone had to come up with this.
Yeah.
And someone. I mean, obviously, it can't be done through trial and error because if you're fucked, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like.
And it's crazy because this has been going on since like the 17th century.
Mm-hmm.
Like. That's a long time for this to just keep going down and adapting and becoming scarier and scarier.
I love people. That's great.
Well, these have been some very fascinating stories. Now you all have to memorize all of these fucking rituals and all these different ways where you can or cannot die.
You have 3 days. No,
and you might be fucked anyway.
Yeah,
you never know.
Screwed.
Yeah. You gotta remember all the stuff. You gotta pack your pockets full of candy, all kinds of shit. We are sorry, but now you have to do all that because you heard these stories from us.
Yep.
That's because you are creepy and spoopy and you like scary shit. So now you have to suffer with us.
Yep. We're all in this together.
You are all our spooky friends, and now we're in this.
Yep.
We're all in this together.
And
Sorry.
copyright infringement.
I only sang 2 lines. Can they really get us for that?
11 seconds? I don't know.
Okay, going forward.
Well, let's now get into the section of the spooky fan story. Jordan has a little disclaimer before this one.
I am so sorry I missed a fan story from almost a year ago.
Gasp.
Yeah, Charlie Parker. I want to apologize. I didn't forget you. My emails are just really messy. And I went through, I'm starting to go through and delete them because they're all connected. So the way I read my emails is all mail, and I'm getting better. I will be better. So I just want to say I'm sorry.
So this was one from a while ago. We are so sorry we did not read this. It was lost in the ether of the emails that we get, but we are reading it now. Charlie, I hope you're still a fan.
I'm so sorry.
We are so sorry.
Better late than never.
But I do like the story. So here we go. Charlie Parker says, I lived in a haunted apartment in Germany, and little me, being me, to the medium world, and my mom, who worked in it for a while, refused to go on one half of the apartment because of the Shadow Man. He was about 7 foot tall, with red/orange eyes.
That's terrifying.
God.
He matched the description of the man who hung himself in my mother's bedroom after losing his wife to cancer.
Aww.
Wow. So basically, they are not entering half of this apartment because of the Shadow Man.
Wow.
But that's crazy that he matches the description of a man who previously died in that apartment. That's terrifying.
Start charging his ass rent, man.
Yeah, right?
Like, rent just keeps going up.
Or, dude, you gotta clean, sweep the litter box, something.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on as saying, the only thing was he looked as if he was forgetting what he looked like. Therefore why we called him the Shadow Man. 14 years later, I'm sure he's still around. He was so lost in the afterlife that he became evil. He would attack my mother in her sleep.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
terrifying.
Yeah. It's really interesting the way he puts that with forgetting what he looked like and just slowly morphing into this shadow. I like that. That's a nice
I do like that too, because this now plays into multiple podcasts. We've talked about this, how spirits are not necessarily trapped. They're kind of just wandering around to find their next vessel, if you will. And the reason why they look the way they do is because they're resembling themselves as they remember to look. Remember, the medium would even say, like, spirits would come into the room or however she sees them, and they would present themselves as they need to for the person that's in front of them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very interesting. And I mean, for someone who, you know, was probably so lost and so dark, and this time after losing their wife and ended up hanging himself, I mean, your entire ether of yourself is just dark.
Yeah,
you know? So
it just
Tragic.
all dark black mass.
loud.
But that's terrifying to see a 7-foot tall figure with
Red eyes.
red orange eyes,
Real.
and to have to like stay out of half of an apartment.
Yeah, dude. Nah.
That sucks.
Get somebody to come in.
Can I
there
get my
and
rent cut in
sage.
half or something?
Yeah.
Like, well, we are very sorry you had to deal with that, and I hope your mom is okay, because you said he became evil and would attack your mom in her sleep.
Yeah.
I wonder how long you stayed there, but yeah, I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah, if there's any updates, let us know. If you're still listening to the podcast.
Yes,
okay.
which
I
I hope you are.
are.
This is from a while ago,
Yeah.
but we're reading it now. So sorry. Yeah, that was a really cool story.
Yeah, it was.
And for other listeners, see, like this one wasn't
short
very
but
long,
sweet, yeah.
but short and to the point and sweet,
Yeah.
which your stories can be like that too. So if you like this section of the podcast, you need to write in, give us your spooky fan stories, whether they be long, short, detailed, or just a story about yourself, a family member,
Anonymous, a family
anyone.
member, yeah.
Yeah.
We say this every fucking podcast.
We
and
do.
We need more people to write in.
I really wish somebody had like a little like I was camping and I saw a Sasquatch story. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to
Tell
hear
us
that.
about your Mothman encounter.
Not with the tramp stamp.
No.
No, with the tramp stamp.
Maybe with the tramp stamp.
If you're into that. Wink,
Someone
wink.
did
We know
comment
you're
on
into
the
that.
Paranormal Intimacy episode
Yes.
and said that they had a story.
Ooh.
So the email is GhostEncountersStories@gmail.com, or you can message us on social, GhostEncountersPA@gmail.com. Whatever you remember, it's always written in the show notes, on the description of the podcast. It's written everywhere, shared everywhere. Just look for it. You'll find the emails. You can
If I
message us
don't-
anywhere.
I write back to every single person that sends a story in. So if you do not hear from me, check the email, make sure you typed it right, or send me the damn email again. Because clearly I didn't get it. But I respond to everybody just so they know that I got it, received it, it's going to be on an episode. So if
Right.
I'm not responding, something's wrong.
We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Like, the world is full of so much weird shit, and we want to hear about yours.
Exactly.
Obviously, I mean, this podcast wouldn't exist without the weird shit that goes on in the world.
Seriously.
Yes. Tell us everything. We want to know.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Stay spooky.
Don't run from your fears.
And a cast iron coffin will not save you from the Galveston flood.